Herr Schennach, will it help that the Council of Europe is trying to act when it comes to telling the Russian, both government and parliament, that they should change their views in the case of Ukraine?
Look, as I said today in the meeting, we have a conflict between family members. Yeah? The Council of Europe is the only parliamentarian institution where both are members. We have a really hard conflict because one member hurt the borders of another and intervened, also with weapons and also with soldiers. Yeah? So we have to bring back the discussion on the bottom of the Council of Europe, because we are the only institution which has no geopolitical interest, no economical interest, and no strategic interests. We have only values.
May I challenge you a little bit there? The OSCE is having a parliamentary assembly as well.
They have,
the Russians are there.
But the Russians are there, and because they cannot put out and cannot make this kind of sanctions, and this is the difference. And we have this possibility, but we should come back on the bottom of dialogue, because if we want that we have the next frozen conflict over the next decades, then we should stop our dialogue. We can annul credentials, we can do nothing. And then we have the next 20, 30 years, one of the most heaviest in the political and economical way, and also in the human rights way, frozen conflict, and that we not want.
The debate here at the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe was in between rather harsh. Didn't you think so yourself?
Yes, that's a fact, yes. But, you know, I come back. Family conflicts are always high emotional on the private level and also between states. Yes, it was very harsh, and not all was correct, yes, but emotions never say that everything is on the bottom of reality. But I think that in my report it's well balanced. It speaks about all the sides of conflicts must show progress, but I also described exactly who has to do more, and this is the Russian Federation.
But when you look about the things which were mentioned in your report and came up during the debate, it could be put down to the question of Nadia, what's the name of the lady? Shevchenko, and to the Crimea. The behavior of Russia towards those two items, the person, a Ukraine former pilot imprisoned in Russia, and the annexation of Crimea. Yeah. Is there any kind of solution?
Not all contacts are broken. And
could you tell a little bit more?
Exactly in that points, exactly 4 points. The Presidential Committee will be informed tomorrow about the first talk I had with the Russian Federation in that case.
But you cannot reveal here and now a little bit of that?
I'm not the person who wants to inform, the press before the Presidential Committee. But you are right. I set up in January 21 proposals to the address of the Russian Federation. With this report, there are 3 more, but there are 3 very important topics, and this is that we can go immediately by the format of Abkhazia or Ossetia, but the Council of Europe did some years ago, to Crimea.
In Georgia?
Yes, to Crimea under the presidency of the chairman of the monitoring, under my second, that we can speak immediately with Nadia Savchenko. And the third is that we build now the presidial committee between President Brasseur, Narishkin, and President of the Narodna Nova.
And of the Duma.
The Duma and Narodna Nova, all the three.
Mm-hmm.
These are the first preconditions that we come back on the bottom of dialogue. And then we have to talk about different other things, not interfere into OSCE questions, not interfere in other, because we have to take care. But I set up also a committee, it's called a committee regarding conflicts between member states, and we had now a topic of also 3 topics, and one is Crimea.
Final question. Do you foresee that we will have the same Russia in front of us in the years to come as we had so far?
I think that it changed a little bit, and also the atmosphere, the political atmosphere changed, and to set up trust. I think 5 years ago, 4 years ago, there was more trust and more closer relations between Russia and the European Union, and between Russian and different member states of Council of Europe. That means that now for the future the bridge is much more longer to find back into that. But there is no alternative. Either you have either a cold or a hot war. And we want never a cold war again and not a hot war. Too many people died. And we want not the next long-term frozen conflict. And in that case, they must show progress on different levels. And when I tell you that in the conflict between member states, our first thing which we are dealing now at the moment is Transnistria, and maybe it's helpful also from the Russian side, to give us on other places more possibility to solve such long conflicts. And I think the conflict I named now is one conflict which comes to an end.